Hello, good morning, guys. So before class, I'm going to do a little bit of a discussion on healthy feet. So whether you have bunions or not, it's really important to be able to stretch your toes and know how to work them. So bunions, what is it? So a lot of times we either have a protrusion of a bone outside the big toe or outside the pinky toe, and our toes tend to, rather than facing straight, toes start to turn in because either we're wearing high heels all the time, we're wearing shoes that restrict the toe box. Um, there's some sort of mechanical imbalance within our feet. So the worst of the two is usually the big one, which is the hallux limitus, where sometimes there's a big bone that pushes out the side, and the big toe sometimes curls over the middle toe, or we start getting hammer toes. Our toes start kind of staying just crunched and bend, and they can't stretch out. So if you have pain, obviously, first and foremost, go see a podiatrist. I'm not a podiatrist, but there are some things if you have just mild discomfort or you're noticing things like this that you can self correct to some extent. However, orthotics surgery sometimes is needed when the pain is just excruciating, it's limiting a lot of your daily activities. Okay. So, how do like I said, how do bunions form? A lot of times improper shoes, improper mechanics, not stretching the feet, not working the toes, wearing shoes that don't have any support for the arches, and so the toes have to constantly just grip. Maybe flat pronated arches, just an injury that we never fixed it. So those are just ways that bunions can form over time. Um, there are options as far as getting toe spacers. You can look them up on the internet. You can go see a podiatrist. You can get orthotics. There's also surgery for when it's just excruciating and not repairable with orthotics or other props. But my mindset on props and orthotics is that they're a band-aid. They're there to help fix the problem, but they're not the all be all solution to fixing the problem. And you obviously have to strengthen the muscles that surround those bone joints. So I actually did not realize until about a year ago that I have bunions. I always kind of wondered why I have weird looking feet. But I never had pain, and my bunions are on the outsides of my pinky toe, so that's also why I did not have a lot of pain or discomfort. But back 8, 10 years ago, when Vibram 5 finger toe shoes were a trend, I started wearing them and started strengthening my feet, started learning how to open my toes and work them. And I actually didn't realize that I was already correcting the problem a lot with that. So that's kind of helped curb the any discomfort that I might possibly experience now that I'm 42. So what are some exercises? So let's go into, first of all, discussing location of the feet. So knowing that with the balls of our feet, you want to, when you stand, you want to be able to put pressure on your big toe, your outer pinky, and then the middle of the ball of your feet. So just knowing proper stance when you're standing, you want to be able to know how to shift your balance to those locations and then know how to just stay square in that tripod. That's always step one. Step two is a toe stretch and ankle massage. So you can do this sitting in a chair. I'm just going to do 1 foot for time purposes, but interlocking your fingers within your toes. Opposite hand can just grab the ankle. And then you just want to do about 3 to 5 ankle rolls. Just being able to stretch and open the toes, get your fingers into the middle of the joint. You want to kind of create some length within the muscles and tendons of the metatarsals. But it's just a nice, gentle little massage for the ankles. A lot of times we don't think about it, but it is really important. Exercise 2 for this is you can do little piggies. So you take each toe, let's start with a big toe and second toe. You stretch it forward and back, and then you scissor open and close. And then you just move on to the next one. Forward and back, open and close. So something as simple as this, but flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, right? Just like we do with our spine, we do with other joints in our body, But those are little things that you can do to start getting mobility and start to stretch and lengthen out the metatarsals. Lastly, with these joints, you can also, if you have a bunion on the outside of the big toe and this toe is crossing over, you can always open up the toe and then bend the toe. And then you just apply a little bit of pressure and you can massage out the muscles that run in between each toe. Let's put that on. All right, then it comes to toe articulation. So feet are muscles. So ideally, in a perfect world, you want to be able to lift each toe, one toe at a time. So with yourself grounded in your 3 positions, you want to start by raising the big toe, then start to raise the second, third, fourth, and fifth, and then start slowly reversing the function. So it takes actually a lot of motor control, sometimes just raising up the big toe only, and then the second, third, fourth, fifth. So it's kind of like you're doing a piano, but you want to be able to do that slow and controlled. Another exercise you can do is using your broccoli rubber band. Some of you have seen this. If you're on Instagram, I've shared this a few times. But you can put your rubber band around your big toes, glue your feet together, and then you can, first off, just use this as a way to strengthen your toes if you have a hard time lifting them up, okay? And just focus on how to pull them apart and how to work them. But then once you have good mechanics with the toes, you want to be able to connect in how to use the feet in addition to your hips. So like I always say, feet are muscles, right? So that's always your building block to what goes on in the hips. So being able to pull the band apart and then use your hips and glutes to externally rotate the hips out, and then use your hips and your feet to rotate in with control. So something as simple as this can work in strengthening your muscles, but you have to be able to connect how your feet work with your hips and using your core and your glutes. What else do I have planned? You can always use a towel to work the toes. So I'm sitting in a chair. You can use cotton balls, you can use marbles, you can use Legos, whatever your jam is. But essentially, I'll face you guys this way, and it might not work because on my rubber. But using your toes to grip and pull the towel towards you until you've reached the whole towel. So that's step one, is just pulling in, but then be able to also lengthen your toes and push the towel away. Now I'm not on a wooden floor, so this is starting to create some friction and it's not really lengthening out, but I think you kind of get the concept of being able to just use your toes to grip. But sometimes if we have hammer toes and we have really bent toes, then your challenge is to be able to lengthen and push the feet away. So we need to be able to lift the feet and toes up, but we also need to grip. So when you grip, that also raises what? Your arches. It makes contact with big toe, pinky toe, heel. But then as you're also lengthening the toes, do we still have our tripod foundation? So those are the exercises that I have outlined for how to maintain healthy feet. So give those a try. I think some of you have already commented on some aha moments when I alluded to checking your ankle mobility, looking at the back of your ankles, seeing if you have flattened feet or not, and how that restriction can apply. It takes time. It's not an easy fix where pain will go away immediately, but these are all little exercises. You don't have to do all of them every single day. Pick or choose which ones are most challenging for you, but work them. Like I say all the time, I have a lacrosse ball in my bathroom. When I brush my teeth in the morning, I will roll my arches. I will grip my toes over it. I will stretch the fascia in my arches because I wear flip-flops around the house as my house shoes. So I know my toes, my arches are constantly gripping, grabbing. So I need that flexibility, or I can feel my ankle getting locked up a little bit. So that's your tutorial. I will edit this and put this on the extra page. So if you have any questions, you just let me know. Okay.